Welcome back, everybody, to the March edition of Conversation with Archbishop Kurtz, segment 2. And we got a treat for you. Father Wayne Jenkins, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, you're welcome.
Listen, let me tell our audience a little bit about you. Father Wayne, of course, comes from Hardin County, and he has been a pastor in many places. He was ordained a priest in 1972. He was pastor, and let me just read these off because you were St. Catherine in New Haven.
Yes.
You were St. Denis, which is now Mary Queen of Peace. St. Barnabas, which is now St. John Paul II.
Right.
And St. Albert the Great Parish.
Yes.
And currently as a senior associate pastor at Holy Trinity. So thank you. And let me add, a very, very well-respected priest within the Archdiocese. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a pastor, but tell us a little bit, first of all, from your own viewpoint of your own vocation. How did you end up getting called to be a priest?
Well, when I was in the 3rd grade, I was at my grandmother's, and we were all talking about what we wanted to be when we grew up.
Okay.
And from the room, I wanted to be a truck driver, and from the room, my grandmother said, "You'll make a good priest." So then,
and you were in 3rd grade.
3rd grade, and then my pastor sort of cultivated that. He came to the lunchroom every day at school. And
What parish were you?
St. Bridget, Vine Grove.
Okay.
And he was friendly, approachable. So that sort of made me excited about what a priest looks like.
Wow, look at the combination: family, encouragement,
Yes.
and then your admiration for and the interest of a priest cultivating it. Wow.
Yes. And then two other priests sort of inspired me through the years. Pat Creed,
Okay.
when I was with him, what I learned from him was the landscape of parish leadership. And he was at the beginning of the establishment of different structure in the parish. Mm-hmm. So I learned that from him, a lot of administration. And then Tom Boland helped me learn about the necessity of planning and accountability in a parish and keeping staff. So my grandmother, Father Diemert, and then that continued to grow, and I continued to learn.
Priests after, and we often talk about ongoing formation. Here you're talking about the effect that your mentors had on you after you were ordained, which is, I think, very, very, very helpful. The role of a pastor in some ways is the same. You know, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But in many ways has changed, and especially since the Vatican Council II.
Correct.
Just briefly, as you look at, how has it evolved as you see it from your chair, so to speak?
Well, in 1972, when I was ordained, there was no parish councils, there were no finance councils, there were no RCIA. For finance council, the pastor leaned on 2 or 3 businessmen to help him. RCIA was taken care of by individual priests.
It was one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Right.
Meetings, 2 monthly meetings. One, the men's club and the women's club, the Holy Name Society and the Altar Sodality. Wow. Then mid-70s.
And you had your role as an associate, didn't you? You had certain responsibilities.
Yes, mostly servers.
Right.
And going to the classroom in the school.
Right.
I was at St. Helens, which is no longer, the school building's no longer there, but we had 1,000 students.
Wow.
So I would spend a lot of my time celebrating the sacraments, but in school, and I was in charge of servers. Wow. So that was pretty much all I had to do.
When you just think about that, you know, as you were saying it, when I was first ordained, I went to one parish. We didn't even have a parish bulletin. We used to have to read the announcements. Did you have just one phone in the rectory?
Yes.
Yes. So I remember having one phone in the rectory. I mean, my gosh, when you think of it. So it has evolved, and you've made mention to the participation of the faithful, of lay leaders, with finance, parish council, etc. These are I assume these are things that required the development of special skills on your part.
Absolutely, and that's where the 2 pastors, Father Creed and Father Boland, helped me along the way. And now today, with the parish council and administration, formation, worship service, the priest is constantly meeting with those committees as well as managing the staff, and sometimes managing a $5 or $6 million business.
You have to be a collaborator, right?
Absolutely.
You have to be a collaborator, someone who's willing to work with others. And it just dawned on me, not only in that leadership role, but when you look at people who are extraordinary ministers of the Holy Eucharist, who are catechists, you're engaged in so many ways in helping to support and nurture leadership, as well as continue to have a pastoral heart. You know, you're known for many, many things, but I would say especially having a pastoral heart that people have always admired when they tell me how much they miss you. It wasn't very long ago I was at your former parish with confirmation, and when I hear people say how they miss you, they will often talk about how you took an interest in people. If you had to give advice to, let's say I'm just a rookie starting out again, what advice would you give to a young priest who's just about to become a pastor?
Now, how much time do we have?
2 minutes.
Well, the first thing I would do is tell them, enter a parish as a listener and an observer.
Yeah.
Do the things you were ordained to do the first year. Pray well, preach well, and celebrate the sacraments with dignity and reverence.
Wow.
And see the parish in all 4 seasons. And you will immediately see things that, I would like to change. Make a note of it. And so just
resist the temptation to change too quickly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And just get acquainted with their traditions, learn the culture of the parish, because every parish has its own identity. I mean, you have rural parishes with schools. You have parishes without schools. Right. There's a mix of Hispanic and...
Come to know your people.
Come to know your people.
Yeah. You know, Father Wayne,
in
many ways, I think you've captured so many things. Pope Francis has talked about being present and walking with or accompanying people. And as I'm hearing you talk, you also, there's this notion of listening that you've raised. So thank you. Thanks for being such a good priest. And you and I are classmates. I was ordained in 1972 also. And so I feel a special affinity to you and a friendship with you.
Same here.
Thanks for being here and for being a good priest and for talking about your vocation, as well as the way in which it was nurtured so that you became such a good and fine pastor, shepherd of Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
And listen, thank you everybody for being part of this segment of Conversation with Archbishop Kurtz. Please stay tuned for our final segment of March.